All right, what we're doing taping wise here at the moment is a turf toe. So you're going to come across turf toe taping a fair bit, particularly in any sports where you've got to wear football boots, and people are more likely to get their toe stubbed, their toe trodden on. Now, typically they will present with pain very vaguely in this region. Ultimately, there are lots of different techniques you're going to learn for turf toe. I'm going to show you the simplest one that is most acceptable out there. Common things, you're going to need to have a midfoot anchor of some point, which can either be in a stretch tape or a 38mm rigid. You are going to need a smaller anchor up top, and then essentially just strips to try and stabilize. So I've already pre-cut a rigid anchor. You want this to be about just behind the first MTP, making sure it doesn't have to go completely circumferentially around. It can stop. This will reduce the likelihood that your athlete will complain of pain in the arch of the foot. So if you do happen to have 2cm tape, it can be quite helpful, as can be having 1cm tape for this sort of taping, because the 1cm tape can be quite useful, particularly when we come and do our little stirrups in a minute, and you'll see why. So I'm ripping the 38mm in half, because that is what most clubs will have. So again, as with all anchors, you do not want to go and do them too tight. So we have our anchor on here. From there, again, you're going to see a few different methods, but as long as you take from one side across back to your anchor, if you pre-rip and it's not quite the right length, you can rip it off. So nice and easy. I like the diagonal method. I find it just gives a little bit of extra stability to the tape. And you would probably do about 2 to 3 in each direction. And if it's quite a fresh turf toe, we can then reinforce with some straight strips as well. And you will need to re-anchor at the end. So from here, I'm going to show you what I mean by the straight strips. You can come from the top and just straight down to the anchor, and then we're going to do another one there. So when you do rip the 38mm in half, you can get a bit of the fraying that occurs. So making sure we reduce that. And then these can continue all the way to the top of the toe before we then re-anchor. And as with thumb taping, it's really important that you make sure that you've got capillary return. You don't want people getting blood supply cut off to the toe. That is not fun at all. If you do what I just did then, you'll have a little bit of tape rip on itself. Don't try and unwind it and use it. Throw it off. Nice and careful, placing down. Okay, so once you've done that, you've done your few diagonal strips and then you've done your few straight strips, you are then going to get your small tape again, re-anchor again, not too tight, just to hold all those ends in place. And then you want to make sure here, you can choose to use a 2cm, mine's already cut in 2, so I'm just going to use that to hold the ends down. You can use a stretch over the top, or you can use your 38mm. Okay, there we have our making sure it's down, our turf toe taping.